Now let's go on and talk about the annuity program. Now first, disclaimer, I am not promoting every single one of you, you got to do this. But for the right person, you need to look into this. I really think that right now, knowing the market, it has been going this right now, right? So you see, this is on the 2007, and then now this is the March of 2009, and then the market already had gone up so high right now. So if you would think whether that it's going to continue to go up, it might be. But if we have almost right now, if you see this, we have over 10 years of an upcycle, and it is actually normal things would come down a little bit, but I am not going to make that comment. I want the client to make that comment, right? So I do right now that I really think that besides, the IUL, the mutual fund, some other stuff, there are actually two programs are pretty good. Similarly, and there's don't get me, some of you, your trainer may train a different thing, but it's pretty much the same concept. I'm going to go over two programs that I feel like it's so easy to understand, because when it comes complicated, confused client will not make decision. Confused teammate, they will not do duplication. So that's very critical. You got to make it very, very straightforward and simple. Let me just give you an example on one of my. There are actually two plans that I personally favor right now when it comes to talk about retirements and all that. Now we do have, that in annuity, but you got to come to training. I am not going to paint the whole picture to you. And there's actually, when it comes to annuity, there's actually income annuity. This is very popular, right? So income annuity would be like what? Would be like agility, right? Will be like Allianz 222, and those are income annuity, or Prudential's highest daily. Those are all income annuity. Once the money that you put in, pretty much they lock in there, and it generate income annuity is kind of like your personal pension. So you generate a personal pension plan. And so for this, it has a big market, which is especially, it's so strong in a way that when you're doing the retirement planning, right? When you're doing the retirement planning, I oftentimes I share your retirement income, right? And then it should be with the need plus want. And the need is what? The need is your, hopefully, whatever you need to do, your Social Security, 1, plus your Social Security 2, husband and wife, plus if you do have other pension yourself, and if not, then you need to do a personal pension, which is what I would call an annuity, to generate the need for you, right? To generate the need. And then the want would be like, hey, you know what? Sometimes people would say, what about, is travel a need? I say, yeah, if you retire, travel is a need. At least put 1 in there. And then, but the 1 would be, hey, if I have extra money and the market doing well, I want to have 2 or 3 or 4 5 travel. Is that okay? That's fine. So in here, it could be your other 401k money. It could be your other investment. It could be your other rental income, and then maybe the money from the bank, or maybe the money from your insurance policy. So all those are the one, but the need that you want to set it up. And this if you talk about this annuity in the need part, that is pretty much the income annuity, right? So you need to look into the income annuity portion of it. Now, but because of the compliance guideline and all that, right now, the industry actually don't want you to have too much money in an annuity, right? In an annuity, because they lock it up. Now, but some of the people, the money out there, they dare not to do investment because the market is too risky. And then, but if you ask them to put the money just in the bank, earning maybe right now there's some online CD giving you about 1.95% interest and all that, but they know that 1.95 is not beating inflation. So they're kind of like in a they confused situation. I don't want to lock it in because I might need it. Investment, I'm a little bit afraid of the market. Just recently, I actually helped a lady take care of a 1 point some million dollar account. And a lot of money some money I put it in an income annuity, and also some money is on the outside investment. And then the rest of the money, when I was presenting some other thing to her, and because she experienced the 1980 something market drop, she also experienced the 2000, 2001, 2002 market crash, and she also experienced the 2007 November to 2009 March crash. She had experienced that all, and she said that, Jonathan, you know what? I was lucky during that period of time. I'm still working, and I don't need to touch my money, and the market come back up. But right now, I'm retiring. I definitely don't want to deal with that at all. And I know I need to touch my money right now. If the market drop, I don't know whether I can keep the same lifestyle. So that's a very key thing, that she wanted to protect her investment, right? So you need to know all those annuity on income annuity, there's some type of commitment that they need to make, right? Some type of commitment they need to make, because tied in long run, and you cannot really, like think of touching it and all that, more for income. Now, but for some other people, they have it on hand and they probably don't want to tie it in. So what are you going to do with that? Then here comes a great program, which is the Transamerica. The Transamerica, right now they have one called Secure Retirement Index. I believe it's 2, right? Index 2, that program. So this plan is really good. So say like right now, I have a customer, this is true scenario, right? True scenario. I already done the income annuity for them, and also some money already in investment. Can take some risk in the market. I said the rest of the money, I know that, you know what, her name is Sujan. Say like Jenny, and people call her Jenny. Say, Jenny, you know what, all this money right now that I know that you worry about it, let me introduce a program to you and see if it doesn't make sense to you. If it doesn't make sense, I can put your money in there. And this plan, first of all, the good thing about it, I like about that, is it's only a 5-year plan. Very, very short 5-year. So that would actually really fits in on this scenario, because normally we know that when the market actually drop and then come back, right, at 4 or 5 year, it's actually a very good time for you to actually get to know the market. So this would be a good time to come back, right? So, and this is a 5-year plan, and I believe that this plan right now is the perfect time to do this plan right now. If the market already dropped, this may not be a good plan. If the market is on the surge, this also may not be a good plan. But this one right now is a 5-year. And then number two on this plan, and the average return for the past history, the average return is about 4 to 5% per year. And now for this one, this plan, they don't call it a fee, they call it a profit sharing. So if you have gain, assuming that you don't have gain, but of course they will be, because the average return is about 4 to 5. And then, but if not, this one, their fee would be a 1.25%. And some of them, people will be like, 1.25% a year, that's pretty much a lot. I said, no, 1.25%. And what they call basically the spread, they take it out after 5 years. So they're not going to calculate your return for the first 5 years. You don't need to look at it. You don't need to worry about it, right? So for 5 year, and then 5 year after, if the return was about 20%, then they minus a 1.25. And so this is how the plan works. But of course, at the very beginning, they give you a 0.25% bonus right away. Not a lot, but that basically will cut your fee down to about 1% only for 5 years. So that's a very, very small fee in this program. Also for this one, good thing about it is right now for Jenny, and I said, Jenny, look at your portfolio. Right now, if you take a look at your portfolio, your 401k or whatever, you have a certain percentage. And her portfolio was actually 60% in equity and she got about 40% in bond. And then I said, you know what? You got about 1 point some million portfolio. 40% of 1 point something, that's already 500, half of a million in bond. Bonds return is really just about 3 to 5, and you need to take risk. This one, you move it to a different place. You don't need to worry about taking risk at all. And so this is one of the best plans. And after 5 years, now, after 5 years, your money is free now. And maybe after 5 years, the market is right on the downturn. Now this money, you could do whatever you want it to be. If the market's still not stable, can you continue choose to stay in this program? The answer is absolutely yes, right? The answer is yes. So I will show them some of the information, and I just wanted to show you as well on this program. Let's take a look at that. Let's see. New share on this. Can you see this?
Yes, Jonathan.
Okay, good. So now let's take a look at. This is actually a their return as of October 31st of 2019. So if you see, this is the red one. Inside this plan, there's one strategy there called the NYEO, the New York Stock Exchange Expanded Opportunity Index. This is a conservative index, and you don't really need to know what exactly in this management. But on this one, they basically every single day they will move the lineup inside, right? I'll show you the lineup. They'll move the lineup to fit. So if you take a look at that, the past, this actually started in December of 04. So up to this point, it's about 15 years now, history. And the red one, the blue one is comparing. The blue one is the S&P 500 conservative index, right? But so they were comparing with that, with the S&P 500 conservative index. So you see that in the past 5 years, it's about 19.92% return for the past 5 years. So that means that average out, it's somewhere around like 4% return. And then the 10-year, is about 58.99%, somewhere around like 5 there. So that means that, so for people's age like late 50, early 60, and they worry about the market right now, they just wanted to protect their money, beat inflation, not clear, they are not ready to tie their money for a long run, this is a perfect plan. I actually suggest, she had about 700,000 extra after I did all other plan for them, 700,000. I actually suggest that moving, half in here and half in the next program that I'm going to share with you. But guess what? At the end, she said, Jonathan, you know what? I am not that greedy. Because after all this, experience that I have, if we be able to protect it, that's great. Don't worry about the other program. Can I put all 700,000 in this plan? And so that's what she did, and put all 700,000 in this program. 5 years later, it became free again. You can do whatever you want, and if you still like it, you could do that. So this is actually how the program worked. Now, how they make that lineup of that NYSE, which is called the NYEO. The NYEO plan, if you take a look at that inside, during that period of time, they change all the time, right? But you don't need to worry about this. Now, this is more for, if people want a little bit more technical, why they are so conservative, why they can perform, control the risk very, very well. Because you know what? On the October 31st of 09, 65% of the money is actually in U.S. Treasury. Only 8% of the money is actually in equity, right? Now, right now, the equity is a little bit more because the market is actually a little bit more stable, because and that means that they feel a little bit more comfortable about at least this year right now, before the election and all that. So they feel a little bit more comfortable. So the lineup is a little bit more. And NYEO, you could actually look it up on on Google Finance or Yahoo Finance, right? So you type in the NYEO, they'll be able to give you that. And I like about, I did this for one of my clients as well. So you'll be able to see that. Let me show you on this. Here's another one. A 61-year-old gentleman that I actually help set up this plan. He got 300,000, and I show him about this program on the annuity program. I am showing him on the highest 10-year. So out of the past 14, 15 year, I picked out the highest 10 year. The highest 10 years return is about 5 point. Here, it's about 5 point. Right here, right? So, oops, how can I highlight it? Okay. Anyway, so highlight right here. So here, right? So this is the 5.41 right here. Let me get a pen. Okay. Here, 5.41 right there. And guess what? And I picked out the lowest 10-year period. The lowest 10-year period, the return was 4.13. So highest and lowest, they're very, very aligned. Very, very little difference. So then I was sharing with them that, you know what, look at if based on the history, the lowest one, the person put in about 300,000 in here, and 10 years later, it's about 450 in that 10 years. But guess what? You don't need to put it for 10 years. For 5 years, your money kind of like unlocked, right? So you don't need to worry about that. So this is actually one strategy that I like a lot on blending into the portfolio. I think right now that we really need to learn when we're going into clients' family, and then when we do things for them, don't just do one thing for them. I share that many, many times in training or in my office as well. If you help them with one plan, the chance for them to stay as a client lifetime is only 40%. But if you do 2 different plans for them, 2 different programs, the chance will shoot up to 70. And if you do 3 for them, it will be end up at a 90%. They will stay as your client for life, right? So that's a big thing. So you got to blend more stuff. Insurance will continue because insurance is a really on everybody will need that. Whether it's an upcycle, downcycle, insurance will always need it. I believe IUL's percentage will be continue growing, and IUL percentage will continue grow. You know, on a steady pace. But right now, this would be, while we're doing the IUL, this would be a good add-on to our solution matrix. Talk to people about this so that they don't need to make decision. I'm pretty sure that many of you on the conference call, you actually had experience on when you're talking to someone, they were just be like, oh, you know what, I just, you know, I just probably wanted to, you know, think about it, because they feel like they need to tied up their money. But right now, if you could do something like this, right? You could do something like it. This would be perfect. And by the way, for this one, this is probably the plan that they can entertain the highest age, because you know what? On this one, on this one, let me put up. It could actually, if a person was 85-year-old, they could still do this. I actually had a client for like 80-some-year-olds, or some of my teammates have a client at 80-something-year-old. No any other annuity will be able to entertain this for them. So, but the client wanted to have the money still in liquid later. Don't want to tie it into any program. So this became a good one when we talked to them. At 80-some-year-old, they were still interested in doing something this. An 83-year-old, the gentleman was 83-year-old. They still wanted to do a program like this, and you cannot find any plan that will be able to entertain someone who's above 80-year-old. So that is the Transamerica Secure Index program. I think that there's a lot of people would be good fit. Now you could put IRA money in here. You could put your Roth IRA money in here because it won't tie in. And also that you could put someone have maybe 200,000, 300,000 in the bank, worry about the market, pull it out already. They're only earning about 0.5, 0.4% return. So those are something they could do. I think from November, October, when I first get to know this program, and then November to now, only about 3 months. Personally, we move about 1 point some million into this program already. and 5 years later, and then we evaluate the situation, either stay there or move it to somewhere else, more fits the need for the customer, right? So that's one program. Any questions on this one?
Hey, Jonathan, it's Min.
Yes.
Quick question.
Yeah.
You mentioned that, say, example, I have like say 200,000 cash in the bank right now, and
Right.
if I move this into an annuity, I
Right.
consider it an IRA. Would that be diverting and converting my money?
No, it's not. It's not an IRA. It's a non-qualified.
It's a non-qualified.
Which is you pay tax. Which is if it's a non-qualified plan. If you see this is a non-qualified plan, the money that you put in already after tax is already in the bank. So in between, you won't be taxed. But at the end, when you take the money out, the gain portion will need to pay tax, right? The gain will be income tax.
But if I'm not 59 yet, will I be penalized also?
You will have penalties. So that means that a non-qualified plan. So this plan, like I mentioned, it may not be suitable for people who's now for non-qualified like bank money, it may not be suitable for people who's under like 50. And unless they said that, you know what, Jonathan, this money for sure, I'm not going to touch it. Maybe I'll move some, but if not, I won't do it for them because they're so young. If they put the money in here, what if they need it later on? They will have a 10% penalty on the gain, not the principal. The principal will never get taxed, but on the gain, they will need to pay a 10% penalty plus the tax rate. So this may not be a suitable plan for people who's younger, right? So non-qualified wise, someone who's 55 and above, perfect. That's a perfect scenario. If they may not need the money, this is great. But we'll talk about this. If this is an IRA account, it is suitable. Yeah, if someone who is like 30 and they said that, Jonathan, I agree with you. I don't feel comfortable about the market. Yes, I know I'm 30. I should take risk. But knowing there's a huge risk coming right in front of me, why should I take that? And then if you give me a 4 to 5, I'm very happy. I'll do that. So some people they would do all that, right? So they would do this, and then now. But if someone was younger age, they said that I want to take risk. I can take risk. I'm young, but I don't want to take too much risk in the market. So what would I do? I'll suggest the next program. But let me handle the questions on this. Anyone else have a question on this one?
Hey, Jonathan, quick question. If you take the money out before 59 and a half, do you pay the penalty on the principal or do you pay the penalty on the capital gain?
No. It depends on if it's qualified or non-qualified. Now, if it's qualified plan, then you follow whatever the plan. Like if it's an 401k, you follow the 401k rule.
Yeah, I'm talking about non-qualified.
Non-qualified money is only the gain. Only the gain you pay penalty and tax and tax on the gain, not the principal. The principal is free, right? But yet you cannot just take the principal out because non-qualified money, the tax treatment is last in, first out, which is the gain got to come out first. The gain got to come out first. Okay, so.
Got it, thanks.
Okay, now, so any other question? No, I'm going to move on to the next one.
Hi, Jonathan.
Yes.
Hi, Jonathan. I have a question. So the example that you showed earlier is the last, like the lowest 10 years, but started 2009. But as we all know that starting 2009 till now, the market is going up. So in that sense, 4% of return. Would you say that in the coming 5 years, it may not be performed as good as we might think it would be? Because
I did not pick the highest 10-year and the lowest 10-year. Is the program generate in this program the highest 10-year for the past 14, 15 years of track record that they have, right? They are not, the track record they have, the best 10 years had performed at 2005 to 2014. And then the worst 10 years was actually 2009 to 2018, which is the market keep on going up because their bond holding in there, it actually become the worst year of happening. That's why I feel so comfortable about this program, because right now the market is actually pretty high. If later on when the market drop, this would actually become, this scenario become the best 10-year scenario.
I see. I got it.
Yeah. So that's how that's how this thing would work. So for those people that they are more worried, they experience a downturn, they really can't take it anymore, or sometimes that people just have money in the bank, sitting there collecting, like maybe a 2% on a CD, and yet still need to pay tax for the 2% every single year, and they don't feel comfortable. This would be a best scenario for them to do that. And I asked one person actually talked to me like, Jonathan, you know what? But what if in year 3 or year 4, I need the money, and I say like the market dropped really bad, and I really need the money on maybe right now the housing price is really good. And I said, then you may not suitable for this. But there's a lot of confused clients. They'll be like, but I like it that he might be able to give me a 4 or 5. I said, then you need to make a decision. If 4 years later or 3 years later, if the market really down on housing or whatever, you really want the money out, now your principal, you're not going to get penalized at all. You take it out, you just don't have any gain. It's kind of like, some of the CD, if you don't wait for that term, they're not going to credit you with any interest. Is it okay for you? And that client was like, yeah, that's okay. If they allow me to take the money and all that, then that's fine. But there will be what? There will be a little bit of penalty in there because they're surrender charge. Then I'll share with them. And some of them, sometimes they'll be like, okay, but you know what? In 3 years, I need to pay 5%, and 4 year, I need to pay 4% on that. But most likely, I may not use the money. I still feel comfortable putting it in. Then you can help them. Right? So I would disclose that to the customer because it's a 5-year surrender program. It's a 5-year. And I'll tell them that a 5-year, the key thing is 5 year. You don't put your 1 year, 2 year money inside. So I just need to fully disclose that to people. Then they feel comfortable. I can do it for them. So, all right. You ready to move the next one? Okay. I assume a yes. All right. Now the next one. This one a little bit different now. The earlier one is completely on the fixed side. So all you need is a live license. You'll be able to do that, right? So for this plan, live license would be able to do that. And then for the next one, you will need a security license, which is a variable annuity conceder. I would suggest that even you don't have a security license, let your trainer do the job for the customer. Because you know what, this money, because this is what I would call a not a income annuity. It's an annuity that it will liquid. It will go liquid later on. This is only for accumulation. So that means that you could move the money, accumulation, right? So you can move the money later on. And on this, if you could help the client, even you don't make the money, but if the client feel comfortable about it, and then later on when the plan period is done, now that you already got your security license, now they feel comfortable about what you have done for them, and then now they might want to use the money to do something else, now that you could do it the next time with them already. So this plan is very similar actually to the Allianz plan, but it is not Allianz, it's Great American. And someone said that, you know what, the Allianz one is awesome, it may be a more well-known company and all that. Great American is an A company, which is an A+ company, pretty good company there with long history. But the reason that I like the plan is because I feel like it really fit the consumer's mindset. So that's why I wanted to share with them. Now this, I do it for people who understand the market. They understand the market, and then that means that they can take risk, right? Or I don't know how many of you actually run into people like they said, I like S&P 500. Right? They say I like S&P 500. S&P 500 is the best one out there. So many people talk about it. Vanguard talk about it. And Ken Fisher talk about it. So S&P whatever. S&P beat 80-85% of the fund outside. Nobody actually know where that 80-85% come from. But people talk about it, right? Because they hear other people talk about it. And then another thing, it fits into a group of people that will tell you, oh, you know what, I like Vanguard. And why they like Vanguard, right? Why would they like Vanguard? What do you think? Why people like Vanguard?
A low fee?
Exactly, low fee. So that's a low fee portion of it. And then now that imagine if I'm talking to Min is challenging me on this. Min is on the young side, not really getting close to retirement yet. And then he had been investing in reading a lot of investment stuff, and everybody talk about S&P 500, everybody talk about Vanguard fund, and all that kind of stuff. And then I'll probably say, I said, Min, very, very good. You're like me, and you could take risk and all that. But let me tell you, why do you like S&P 500?
I guess it's steady and stable.
Steady and stable. It's predictable, for the past so many years. And then, yes, there are some ups and downs. It's always go up, right? So very good. I agree with you on that one. What's the next? And why do you like about Vanguard S&P 500 index fund?
It's low fee, Jonathan.
Okay, so yeah, it's a low fee. So you come back to the fee, right? You come back to the fee, you come back to the performance and all that. So now, and then if I would be able to tell you something that you would be able to get the S&P 500 return, but there's no fee. And if I would tell you, yes, and if I would tell you, right, if tell you this is all good, right, and there's no trick in there, would you want me to show you how this program works?
Sure, of course.
Okay. Now, so this program is also, this is a very straightforward program. The first thing, you can see it as the only people would be like, Jonathan, what is the takeaway? I mean, what is that a disadvantage or the limitation? I said the only disadvantage or limitation that you could see in this one is this is a 6-year program. Once you put the money in, the first 6 years, if you want to walk away, there will be some penalty. But guess what? Since that we are talking about your 401k, you cannot really touch it until you're 59 and a half. Assume that I don't talk to you, your money in S&P 500, you're probably going to stay there for a long time. Am I right, Min?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So that means that this 6 year is not going to be a big deal. Now, number two, this one is going to mirror an S&P 500. You probably don't know what mirror an S&P 500 means, right, Min?
Not really. What does that mean, Jonathan?
Now, so if you directly invest in S&P 500, so when S&P 500 drop, your money will what?
Will drop.
If they drop 20%, what happened to your account?
Drop 20%.
Drop 20. So if the market actually grown up 30%, you will get a 30%. So that's direct investment. And mirror S&P 500 means that that's why this kind of plan would only happens in an insurance company, because you know what? The investment is mirror S&P. They're not directly invested in S&P, but they will credit you based on the S&P. So what would they do is they would do some risk management for you. And how do they do that is when the market drop. When the market drop, they would only drop 50% of what the market dropped. So that means that they guarantee if the market dropped 10, what would be your account?
5.
If the market if the market dropped 20, it would be 10, right? So that's guaranteed 50%. Very straightforward story. And then the next thing is, what if the market go up? Here is sometimes people would say, this is too good to be true. And this is the answer to that question, because you know what, that's how they hedge the risk. Because when the market drop, yes, they only allow you to drop the 50, but when the market is up, they will only allow you to participate in 77% of S&P 500. So what that really means is if the market went up 10%, now your account will go up
7.7.
7.7. If the market dropped 10%, you would only drop what?
5%.
5%. But knowing that if the market dropped 10, how many percent that you need to break even? 11, am I right?
Right.
So if the market dropped 10, you need 11 to break even. But now, since the market only, if what they do for you, they guarantee only drop half. You only drop 5. So really what you need is 6, then you'll be able to break even already. But now if the market went up like 11 something percent, a 7.7, it's already higher, much higher than the 6. So already position you in a much better place. Now, so this, I'm going to show you the graph later on, Min, but let's talk about number 3, right? So if they actually would be able to do that for you, right? If they actually would be able to do that for you, how much fee that you're willing to pay? If they would be absorbing the 50%, you know, and then, but the uptrend, they'll give you a 77, how many percent of fee that you're willing to pay if you were to give it a fee?
Didn't you tell me it was free before?
It is free, yes, but I'm just asking you, imagine if they would charge the same fee like your Vanguard fund is doing for you. Wouldn't you glad that this is actually a pretty good plan? Right?
Sure, yeah.
It's true in here, 0% fee. There's no fee in this plan. Now, let me show you of how that program actually worked. So I will pull up this. Okay. So now this is actually a old. They have their new rate is. See, normally what I worry is at the very beginning I did not want to suggest to a lot of people. I wanted to try it out, kind of you know, take a look at what they would do. But it turns out just recently they actually bumped up the cap part. Instead of 75, they now at 77. Earlier it was when the market dropped, they drop at 50. When the market is up, you only participate in 75% of that. But they just increased that number to 77, which is a great thing, right? So, but let's take a look at this. This graph that you're looking at right now is actually based on the 75%. So you see in 2000, here's the number. This is real index number in S&P 500. Since you love S&P 500, let's take a look at that. In year 2000, the market was at -10, -13, -23 for 2000, 2001, 2002. And then we also have a 38% drop in 2008. We got a 0.7% drop in 2015. And then we got a 6% drop in 2018. So in this scenario, now, but in between, we got some pretty good growth. So in here, when the market dropped, your portfolio only dropped 5%. And then next year, when the market dropped 13, you only dropped 6.5. And following year, when the market dropped 23, you only dropped 11.69%. So with that, see the powerful thing now, sometimes people will be like, look, but 2003, I grow 26, you only grow 19. But yet, if you will see the graph up here, when you drop 10, 13, and also 23, you drop down to this number. So your market up of 26% is based on this number, the lower point. But my 19.79% is based on this number. So that when the market is up, I am in a much, much higher ground. And when the market come to a point in 2008, when the market drop again, I only drop that 50%. So next time when the market is up, so up to this point in 2018, the final number, right, S&P 500 is at 189,000, and this one is $219,000 for the account. So this one, I feel like it's perfect for those people that they come and challenge you about, I like S&P 500, I don't want fee, all those kind of things. And so this is a really suitable thing. Right now, what I do a lot is for combining the Transamerica one and this one for people that who's either younger or even that they're closer to retirement, but they have a good amount of knowledge about investment and all that. and then they wanted to still invest some money, I'll put some of the money in this program, and then some of the money in the previous Transamerica program. And one is a 5-year, and the other one is a 6-year. One is with a 1.25%, which is really a 1% fee, and then this one is absolutely on a no fee situation. So with that, because I don't need to against them or sell them something, because they already told me why they like the market, why they like Vanguard, why they like S&P 500. So I feel comfortable about this, especially with a short period of time instead of a 7-year. Most of the annuity out there are 7-year, some of them are 9-year, but this one is a 6-year plan. Normally when I do that, just not much objection that I ran into. Okay, so that's it. That's how simple that I present this to program.
Great. Hey, Jonathan, there was a question from Jeffrey. I just read it for you.
Okay.
So they're asking about immediate annuity for a 30 years old that inherit 2.5 million and want to turn into a passive income stream for life. What would you recommend for a young guy with a cash on hand?
30-some-year-old?
The question is 30 years old, inherit 2.5 million and want to turn into passive income stream for life.
Right now, right away they wanted to do that?
Yeah, they want immediate annuity situation kind of things.
Okay.
But it's only 30 years old.
Yeah, if on this situation, it might be really need to sit down and go over a little bit more on what is their plan in life. Right now it's too short in a way that knowing what's their plan. Are they not planning to work at all? Or they are planning to work, just wanted that money to generate a certain amount of income. You know, those scenarios we need to do. This would be a typical situation on doing something what we call the laddering. The laddering would be maybe I'll put them into a certain plan, maybe looking into those plans like 5 years later or 10 years later. But currently they save some money in the bank and just leverage those cash right now. And then the rest of the money you go do it like laddering out, some 5 year, some 10 year, and all that, and move it out. But definitely with this kind of situation, I would open up a pretty big insurance policy and jam a lot of money into the insurance so that later on they don't need to pay tax, knowing that they're so young and very, very healthy. I'll jam a lot of money into the insurance policy for sure, if I would suggest for that person. And then the rest of the money, I will definitely invest those money as well. A great place to put some of the money. This is actually not a bad place at all. The Great American is not a bad place for a because you know, even as a 30-year-old, they may not need all this money. They might, you know, you could put about a couple $100,000 in this and really aim for the long run, and then for retirements and all that. So this is something that you need to sit down and go over the whole financial situation with the family. It's too I would say it is too immature on just saying that which plan would be the best plan for them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Jonathan, are you okay to open up to the question for everyone? I see.
I'm fine. I'm fine with the question. That's all. Actually, whatever I show you today, for all those cases that for the past few months that I closed, this is exactly how I talk to them. Mm. Yeah, I talk to them. Any question you might have?
Jonathan.
Yeah.
And everybody, I think because of the time, then we limited to the next 8 minutes. Let's finish this call. I know many of you are having some other appointments and all that, but that was a great information. We will have a more training in the class. All right. So let's set that up for the next few minutes for the questions, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you, Jackie. And then Penny also texted me and asked, see if you can comment on the elite and also the Vegas registration for the business side, Jonathan, if you wanted to comment on those 2 items.
Okay. And any question right now? If you don't, then I'll.
Is there a minimum premium to start? That's one of the questions.
Oh, the minimum is actually very, very little. So let me put up and so I can show you what's the minimum on this one. Let's see.
Maybe 10,000, maybe 10, 20.
Yeah, it's very little. They were actually the minimum to start is 25,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, 25,000. This is the fixed annuity one, right? So 25,000. Okay. So so I believe that, you know, for those suitable market on the VA side, they will have 25,000. So this is actually pretty easy. This is a very easy to close account. So, all right. And if we don't have any question, I think that for ongoing, right now after the convention, I don't know. I think that I'm in many group. The momentum is very high right now. Very high. One thing to keep up with the momentum is actually our elite circle. Elite is actually when people come together. We got about like we have about at least about 9 to 10 CEO and above, $500,000 income earner and above, to coach you how to run the business. I benefit so much from it because 3 years before I became a CEO, I told myself, I said, you know what, I'm not going to stop until I became a CEO. So I will go to every single elite class. So I learned so much and I got myself ready on running the team and all that. This actually benefited me so well. And you know, another thing, if you take a look at Lori in Toronto right now, Lori is actually being the biggest right now in my hierarchy. That was one reason is she have never missed any elite, never miss any elite. I asked her to go to Boston, she would travel to Boston. I asked her to go to Chicago, she would go to Chicago. So that elite not only built the knowledge, the discipline, and then the friendship, the bonding for the team, right? And then it actually stretched the vision and also form a great habit of traveling. So now, right now, their team is one of the best in react to when I ask them, hey, go travel, and then they'll do it right away because they've seen how powerful that would be. So you definitely don't want to miss that. A newcomer, you definitely need to participate in the elite circle. And also, I think that for those people who's an MD and above, you really should go back to the elite circle and put yourself in an environment. I think that peer pressure is actually one of the best way to help us grow in this business. So you don't want to miss that one, right? So what is the next thing that Penny talk about again?
The convention.
Besides the elite or
the company convention.
The Las Vegas convention?
Yeah.
Oh, Las Vegas convention. I don't know about you, but this is, I cannot speak for you, but I can speak for my team. And this year, right now, is after so many years, the company's green and blue team is going to combine. I believe that this year we will have somewhere around like 40,000 people. And since we are in MGM Grand, it will not be big enough. They'll open up the MGM Garden Arena of 16,000 people, 16,000, and the overflow will be going into another ballroom called a Marquee Ballroom. Marquee Ballroom will be able to fit another 6,000 people. So combined together will be about 22,000. But I actually worry if we only having like 22,000 seats, this might be the year, you know, we were talking to like Susan Davy and all that. This might be the only year we have to turn people away. Like, sorry, registration closed and seating full. We cannot take anyone anymore. So that would be a very scary thing. So right now my team knows about it, and I told them, I said, you don't want to be having your newcomer later on. They are going to go into a Marquee Ballroom. You will not be there. They're going to see the screen. So I want my team to be in the Garden Arena. So right now that, you know what, no matter what, some of my teammates, they actually become very creative. And then if they have a cousin or, you know, and their spouse or kids, they'll register them in no matter what to get the spot in the Garden Arena. And by doing so, a few things would happen. Number one, later on, your new team member coming in, you could put them into that arena so that they can be together with you. And then also another thing is while you're doing that, you're putting some money up front. You're giving yourself more pressure. now that you'll be able to move more people going to the Las Vegas convention. I absolutely love that mentality. I did not talk to them about this, but they start doing that. And also, you know what, and they start booking multiple rooms in MGM Grand so that they don't need to go to other hotel. And I think that, you know what, whoever would actually step up and doing that, they are the one who's going to, they're going to win this Las Vegas convention. And every single time, the most frequent comment that we got from everybody after convention is, I wish I had brought more people to this event. Champion Bowl came back, people said the same thing. Las Vegas came back, said the same thing. Make sure that you don't, you know, that won't happen to you. And you just need to be better prepared for what's ahead. And 4 things that my team know how to focus. Number 1, Champion Bowl. Number 2, the first elite. And then the first elite is going to move more people to Las Vegas convention. And Las Vegas convention, after that, more people will be joining the second elite somewhere around like August and or September. And then that elite will help me push more people to going into the Champion Bowl of 2021. So every single, this as a system. So you just need to plug it in and run your business big and leverage this. That's all I wanted to share with every single one of you. Back to you, Jackie. Amin, you want to add to that? Hello?
Yep, Jackie, you on? Okay. Well, anyways, I think just to echo what Jonathan, I'm just participating today. Thank you, Jonathan, very much for training us and helping us. But I just want to echo the 2 things about the events. You know, right now, after we get back from the Champion Bowl, momentum is very high. I like the yellow shoes. I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to try to get one of those shoes. So, Jonathan, we got to get some shoes, okay, brother?
That's right. That's right. Yellow shoes. Never had a yellow shoe in my life. So that is going to be an exciting thing. So it would be cool. I got a red one already. We're going to get a yellow one, right? So I was telling Connie, I said maybe later on you can have a blue one. So we will have a whole series, a lineup of shoes, of Nike shoes.
Yeah. So, you know, just momentum is very high. So we have a couple of things that we're fighting for. But the next 4 months, let's do it very strong. And then after that, let's just chase after it and bring a lot of people to convention. I think that by that time, I think Corona will be done, right, Jonathan?
I'm pretty sure since it's made in China, right?
All right. Well, yeah, that's just Penny just asked me to remind you to kind of comment on those 2 items. And I think that as a business builder, we all understand that very well. Our business is moving people from event to event. And thank you for the training again, brother. So that's all.
You're welcome. I hope to benefit you all. And the best way to make it yours is go out and practice that, right? Let's go out and practice it.
All right.
Thank you very much for the
Jonathan.
opportunity. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you
Appreciate it.
very much, Jonathan.